Hello and welcome to a new tutorial. I am Mr. 23 and today I'm going to teach you how to create this fantasy manipulation with this little boy. Alright, let's begin. First we need a background picture, which is this forest picture, and we are going to duplicate this layer. Let's drag it all the way down and duplicate it, then right click and convert it to a smart object. Now we are going to apply a motion blur effect on this new layer. Go to filter, choose blur, and here choose motion blur, and the angle should be 90 degrees and the distance can be bigger or smaller depending on your image size. For our image today we are going to use somewhere around 120 pixels. Hit OK. Now we are going to hide the bottom part of the image, so add a mask to this new layer. And now take the brush tool and start to paint with a black color on the bottom of the image to show the original part of the forest. Okay, now that we've created our background, I'm going to increase the size of the document. So now I'm going to hit Ctrl Alt Shift and I to merge all the layers into one layer, zoom out, now press the letter C or the crop tool, and on the ratio just click 4:4, and now we are going to increase the size of the document and move this to the bottom, and now just press enter. Now let's name this one background, and now select a part of it with the marquee tool or press M. Let's drag a rectangle and select this area. Press Ctrl and T for the transformation tool and hold Shift and drag this to the top. Now we are going to change the tones of the picture and go to adjustment layer, select selective color and select the neutrals from the colors menu. And here we are going to add a bluish tone to our picture. Okay, now we are going to add some lights on the center of the image by using a curves adjustment layer. So select curves and increase the lights of the picture. Alright, now we are going to invert this mask. So press Ctrl Command I and take the brush tool again, and this time use the white color and just paint on the center of the image to bring back some lights only on that area. Alright, so this is before and this is after. Now we are going to decrease the lights on the other areas. Now select another adjustment layer, which this time is levels. We are going to decrease the lights on our image. So drag this white slider to the left and this one on the top to the right. Now again invert the mask by pressing Ctrl Command I, and this time we are going to paint on the sides of the image and we are going to hide those areas. Now we need a subject. For this manipulation I chose the picture of this little boy. Now we are going to select him. There are a lot of ways to select a subject. The easiest one is by pressing W or the object selection tool and let Photoshop select the object, or in our case the subject. Now press the mask tool and we have our little boy selected, and now we are going to drag him in our composition. Usually I use the pen tool to select the subject, but today, because the final image of the boy will be really small, the Photoshop subject selection works really nice. Now let's make some adjustments to the colors. First of all, go to image and choose auto tone. Then go to image again, auto contrast, and finally auto color. Alright, now click on the adjustment layers and choose selective color, and click on this little icon to add this adjustment layer to affect only the little boy. Now we are going to play with some colors here to match his colors to the background. Now let's make the little boy even smaller. Press Ctrl Command T and drag the right corner to the left. And once you're ready, just place him on the best position. Okay, now that we've placed our little boy, double click. Now let's hide those areas on his boots. So add a mask, take hard round brush, and now click on the top circle and drag this to the bottom. And we have an oval shape now. Let's change the angle to diagonal one. And now let's bring back the flow to 100%. And if I'm going to paint with the black color, I'm going to hide those areas that we don't want to be there, because it should be behind that log. Alright, let's go and add some shadows to his left side, because that part is in the back and we have the light somehow coming from the front. So if we have the light coming from this direction, the shadows should be around this area. Now, for doing that, we have a lot of options. One of them is using the levels and clip this levels adjustment layer to affect only the little boy by pressing this little icon. And now we are going to do the same thing that we did in the beginning. Drag the white slider to the left and this one on the top to the right. Alright, and now we are going to invert the mask by pressing Ctrl and I. Take again a soft round brush, and now we are going to decrease a bit the flow, and we are going to paint with the white color on his left side. Now by using the soft light blending mode, we are going to add some shadows. So go to layer, new, and click on layer, and here on the mode select soft light and fill it with 50% gray, and we are going to name this one shadows. Now if we are taking the black color by using the brush, and of course we are going to clip this one inside by holding Alt or Option to affect only this layer, and now take the brush tool, and if you are going to paint with the brush tool on the parts that you want to have shadows, you'll see that those parts will become darker. Okay, now I think we are done, and for the next phase we are going to add a lantern, a light to our image. So we are going to select this lamp, but this time I'm going to use the pen tool. So after you finish with the pen tool, just press A or take the path selection tool, select all the areas and then right click and make selection and add a mask. After we successfully selected our lantern, let's drag it to our manipulation. Now I'm going to do the same things with the color adjustment. So go to image and choose auto tone and auto contrast and auto color. Now let's convert this one to a smart object by pressing right click and convert it to a smart object. Press Ctrl Command T to make it smaller and bring it all the way down to a size that is best for our manipulation. Alright, now we are going to add a selective color again and clip it inside our layer. Let's call this one lantern, and of course right click and choose an orange color, so you can know that that's the lantern. Now let's play a bit with the reds on our image, and again with neutrals. Okay, now because this lantern is a bit in the air, we are going to draw some cables that the little boy is holding. Let's return to our main lantern picture. As you can see, it already has some cables over there. Now to select only this part, this cable, I'm going to take the object selection tool and select this area. Alright, Now I'm going to copy this one by pressing Ctrl and C, and I'm going back to my image, and now I'm just pasting it by pressing Ctrl and V. And we have our little cable. Now I'm going to right click and convert it to a smart object and decrease the size. And I'm going to place it where I think it's best for our image. First of all, let's hide him. I think the lantern should be a bit to the ground and a bit smaller. I think something like that. Alright, now let's decrease the size of this cable and place it where we think we need it. Okay, something like that, and then go to edit and choose puppet warp. And I'm just going to press on some points on our cable, and I'm going to play around. And then when you finish, just press enter, and we have something like that. And I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. I'm going to duplicate this layer, and I'm going to press Ctrl Command T and invert it horizontally. Alright, now if we are going to rotate this cable, it will look much better. Okay, now I'm going to add a mask to each of those two layers, and I'm going to hide some parts. Take the brush tool, increase the flow to 100%, and take the hard brush this time. And with the black color selected, we are going to hide some parts of the cable. So first of all, it is this one to the left. Be sure that you are on the mask and just click on the areas that you want to hide. And second, go to the other one and do the same thing. Alright, now I'm going to change the colors. So first of all, let's click on those two layers and select them and add them to a group. Let's call this one cables. And now I'm going to do a selective color adjustment layer, clip it inside the group, and just play with the blacks only. Now I'm going to add some lights and shadows to those cables, and I'm doing that by using again the same soft light method. So go to soft light and fill it with 50% gray, and I'm going to add this one to our cable group. Alright, now I'm going to use black and white colors, and I'm going to start with the black color. But first, take the brush tool and go to the flow and decrease it all the way to 8 or 9%. And now I'm going to paint. I think it should be like 2% or 3%. And I'm going to paint where I think the shadows should be. And then I'm going to add some lights on the inside a bit. Now change the color to white, and if you paint with white, it will add some more lights to those areas. Alright, I think we are done with the cable, and now I'm going to play around with the colors to have some lights here on the lantern and on the ground. Now let's organize the things a bit. I'm going to click on the lantern and all the layers on top of them. So this should be only one group, so press the group icon and call this one lantern. Click on the first layer of the boy and select all the layers that are included there, and again add this one to a group and call this little boy. Select the other remaining layers and add them to a group and call this one background. Now we are much better organized. I'm going to add some lights to affect this little boy only. Go to layer, new, and choose new layer, and here we are going to select linear dodge and fill it with black. And this layer I'm going to drag on top of the little boy layer, and I'm going to add it inside by holding Alt, and all the modification that I'm doing, it will affect only the little boy. Now take a orange color, something like that, and with the brush select it, and the flow should be around 3 or 4%. We are going to paint where we think the lights should hit the boy, but we need a soft brush, not a hard brush. Alright, so I'm going to paint. Don't worry if for the moment it will look weird. We are going to make it look much better soon. So just paint on the areas that you think the light should bounce on the little boy. And then when we are finished, we are going to do a blend if. So double click on the layer and hold Alt, click between those two sliders and drag the right slider to the right. You'll see that the light will be dispersed much better on the little boy. Alright, so just hit OK. And now we are going to add another layer like this one. So go to layer, new, and do the same thing. OK. And now clip it inside by holding Alt, and with the same color now, but decrease the opacity to 50%, we are going to add more light, but we are not going to use the blend if this time, but the light that we are adding, it's really opaque. Okay, so we added lights on the little boy clothing. Okay, now go on the top of the background folder or group and add a new layer. This one I'm going to set it to overlay blending mode. Take again this orange color, and now we are going to paint on the ground with the overlay mode selected, and this one will add some light on the ground. I'm adding some lights here on the top, yeah, because I want to have some colors also coming from the front. Okay, so this is our overlay added color or light. If you think it's too much, you can always use the eraser. Okay, so let's take the eraser tool and erase some parts of the image, but of course let's decrease the opacity also. And now let's add a glow that will make more light on our image. So create a new layer, and this time change the mode to screen and fill it with black. Now create a new layer, leave it like that, blank, and now clip this one inside by holding Alt and go to the adjustment layers and take the gradient map. Here we are going to change some colors. The first one to the left, where it should be black, the second one should be white. Now between the middle and the left part, somewhere in between, add another color and change this color to orange. Alright, hit OK, and also bring this layer inside the black main layer, this one. Alright, now select this one, let's call this one light or glow, actually it's much better glow. And now with the white color selected, so be sure that the white color is selected, take the brush tool and with the white color as I said, and decrease the opacity to around 20%, and the flow should be around 3% also, because it will be too powerful. Alright, so if we want to add some light, we should use the brush tool and start to paint here on the lantern. So as you can see, I'm painting with white, and already the lantern looks much better with this color. So just increase the size of the brush and just click on the screen. As you can see, we already have some really nice light around the boy. So I'm just painting on the screen, I'm just clicking where I think the light should be. So at the end, if you think of course it's too much, take the eraser tool and just erase those parts that you think they are too much or they have too much light. Now let's play a bit with the camera raw filter. So press Ctrl Alt Shift and I to make a screenshot of all the layers into one layer, then right click and convert it to a smart object and go to filter and choose camera raw filter. I'm going to play a bit with the settings. Alright, then I'm going to add some detail by increasing the sharpening and the noise reduction and the color noise reduction, and I'm going to add some grain to the image. Alright, but not too much, around 10%, and then some vignetting on the sides. After that, one really nice step is the last one, which is radial filter. On the radial filter window, I'm going to select an area Right, I'm going to make this oval and I'm dragging here. So depending on your Photoshop version, this might look a bit different, but the idea is the same. So now if we have this one inverted on the top, and for example I'm going to decrease the exposure, it will keep the lights inside the oval and it will decrease the lights outside the oval. So I'm going to decrease a bit, but not too much, the exposure, somewhere around minus 0.3, and I'm going to increase the contrast a bit to the right, somewhere around 10%. Select an area outside and drag another oval. Alright, this time I'm going to make it a bit bigger and let's rotate it to the right a bit. And now if I deselect the invert and go to exposure and decrease the exposure, it will affect only what's inside our oval. So I'm going to increase the exposure a bit, but really not that much, somewhere around 0.5, and hit OK. As you can see, we have the light only on the center of the image, so this is before and this is after. For the last step, we are going to hit Ctrl Alt Shift and I, make another screenshot of everything, go to filter and choose other and then high pass. And now I'm going to, let's zoom out, we need a radius around 1% or even smaller, 0.5, hit OK, go to blending modes and choose vivid light. And what this does, it adds some sharpening to the overall image. Now if you want this image to look more like a painting, you can go again on the smart object where you apply the camera raw filter and choose filter and then go to stylize and choose oil paint. And now if we are going to zoom out to our little boy, as you can see, it will add this painting effect on the image. So if you prefer this type of filter, you can add the oil paint filter. Then let's create a screenshot of everything, and now I want to have this one ready for Instagram, so I'm going to press again the letter C or crop tool and select the 4:5 ratio. So we crop the image to have it ready for the Instagram. I had some problems today during the recording of the tutorial with the Photoshop. I had to restart my computer a few times. I completely forgot about the shadows behind him. So just create a new layer, set the mode to multiply, take the brush tool and then just paint behind him with a darker color and then just decrease the opacity. Alright, and I'm going to decrease the opacity to around 65%. So this was the tutorial for today. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram also. You can find my Instagram account in the description of the video below. And also, if you didn't subscribe until now to my YouTube channel, please consider to subscribe so you can be in touch with my latest tutorials. I really hope that you comment on my tutorial, on my video today. This will help me a lot to understand if you like my videos or if you want to learn something else next time. So thank you again and see you next week.